What's up guys, happy new year, welcome back to 2021. So it's currently the 29th, so not quite New Year's for us, but you're probably watching this on about New Year's Day. This is the new house, we've moved. Over the break, I didn't really get much of a break between Rex coming off night shift, all the work we had to finish off, the move, and then going back for Christmas to see family and stuff like that. Having to clean the old place, etc. It's just been hectic. There's been pretty much no time off at all. But even though it wasn't time off, it was still a lot of time that I got to spend with family. So it was still a good quality time. I'm just still like so wrecked just from it all. There's been no rest at all. As you can see, there's still so much stuff here to go through, move in. It's crazy, it's hectic. Woo-hoo-hoo. So back film on the GoPro, you would have seen in a vlog where we did Adam's car. Got a new GoPro now, so back on the GoPro. So this is sort of the new place. It's super close to the workshop. I'll cover it a bit more in a week in the life vlog, which I'm due to do one fairly soon anyway. Today we're just going out for lunch to catch up with an old friend, fairly close by. And then we'll come back, we'll go to the workshop and I'll answer these Q&As. So now I'm back filming with GoPro. I'm gonna be doing most of my stuff in 4K again, sort of catching back up to the 21st century now. Because the M50, the Canon, didn't really like 4K that much, so stoked with that. Big family rig. All right, what a lunch at the RSL. Won a key ring, a bottle opener key ring. We won 3 stubby coolers. And I won $100 in the pokies. And our mate that we went to have lunch with won $280 in the pokies. So what a way to end the year, eh? So anyway, now we're gonna head back because we got Todd, who I'm building that fully forged 1.5J. He's coming out today bringing me some of the last pieces of the puzzle that we needed to get his head sorted. So hopefully in the new year we can actually get that thing sorted and almost have it finished, because it has been an absolute prick to get parts for as well. So anyway, we'll head back home and then over to the workshop, because we can do that now because we live really close, which is awesome. All right, so just before we head to the workshop, just got to replace the taillight bulb in the big Terracan. It's been blown for a bit. Plus there's meant to be like a package at the servo for us, so see what that is and pick that up. Woohoo, new boy. All right, so Todd's here dropping off some valves and stuff for the 1.5J, stuff that he ordered himself from, he ended up getting them from like Dubai or something. That whole build, due to COVID, has just been an absolute nightmare as far as getting parts are concerned. Even at the moment, I'm still having a nightmare trying to find Welsh plugs for it. I wanted to get genuine Welsh plugs, but to get them out of Toyota is pretty much impossible right now, so it's looking like we're just gonna have to run brass ones. A few things like that, but anyway, the reason we didn't mention Todd earlier in the series is because it was sort of a bit hush-hush. Todd didn't want anyone to know at that point, but the cat's been let out of the bag now, so it's Todd's 1.5J for his Cressida. It's, yeah, a bit of a sneak peek for the build. You'll see it in the build series, but he's got a new turbo for it. What is it, a 4294, eh? Yeah, so he's got a new GDX 4294 for it. For that 1.5J, billet mains, I-beams, you know, all the stuff that's happening for that 1.5J. It's going in his Cressida in front of a T56 with a S1 sequential shifter. So it's going to be a pretty freaking wild unit. On E85, he's got a new Link Thunder coming for it. He's ditching the Haltech Elite 750 because he just wants a few more inputs and outputs and things like that. So he's going Link, and it's just going to be wild. But anyway, Todd's here in his daily, so just thought I'd give you a look at the daily because it's freaking cool as well. Oh, we gotta wait for it to air out.
Wait for it to go down.
It's airing it out, so we'll wait for that. So what is it, a GS171 or something?
It's a UZS186.
UZS186, Crown, right.
Yeah.
I don't know, once we get over like X chassis, yeah, big body Toyotas, I'm just like, I don't know. The Japanese.
Crown Majesta.
So it's a 3UZ Crown, and it's freaking awesome. It's off tap. So Todd's not happy about it being in the vlog right now because it's filthy. So he's got Matty here, giving it a quick wash in the driveway. Filthy car. Anyway, so I'm gonna put it in the vlog anyway.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
sound white, boy. Big sound, big sound, big sound, big it sound white, boy. Big sound, big sound, big sound, it sound white, boy. Big sound, big sound,
It sound white, boy.
So that's Todd Matty's like daily. It's ridiculously cool. Awesome, awesome car. Would love to own one and daily the crap out of it. Plus I do love VSXXs. They're one of my favorite wheels. So this is, not only is this like just a sick car, it's exactly how I'd do one if I ever owned one, on nice big boy VSXXs. Obviously it's on factory bags. It's got the fridge in the back of the back seat. You know, just the amount of luxury options. The back seat reclines. It's got blinds all over the back that you can put up and down. All the radio controls in the back. You know, they're just a off-tap car. It's really, really cool. So I'd reckon actually the 3 years added in it as well does get really good fuel economy. So definitely a freaking awesome car. I love it. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of a look while Todd and the car are here at the start of this little video. But yeah, it's pretty sick. Also, I should assure you guys that they've let me know that it is usually never this dirty. They weren't expecting for this to, you know, be on the vlog today or anything, so that's why it's a little bit dusty, but regardless, it's freaking cool. Oh, the big dog. So I was like halfway cleaning up the old place over the break, and the gurney shut the bed. So Rex went and bought a new one, and instead of just replacing the old one, he decided to grab the big dog, the big, what is it, 1885 PSI or something?
Yeah, 2100 watts.
Big boy. So this is what Todd dropped off. I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek of the 1.5. So he's got all new OEM seals for the block, for the oil passage and stuff like that. 2 new valves here, so that replaces the 2 bent ones that we had. As you can see, the block's been all painted. At this stage, I've had a lot of trouble trying to get Welsh plugs. Like I wanted to run OEM ones, but it's starting to look like I'm probably just gonna have to run brass ones from Golby's or something. So we'll just see how that goes. But it's looking like that's how we're gonna go. I would rather run OEM, but it's same with a lot of things right now. It's just getting parts. It's pretty much impossible. So I might have to just run the brass ones from Golby's. I'm sure they're probably gonna be fine, but if they have an issue, we just have to fix it. That's how it's gonna be. But anyway, now we can get that head down to the machine shop ASAP, get onto that, but you'll see that in the build series. So also just a few other updates around the place. The VY1 tonner has now taken a new direction, so that build is now going to be ongoing. Like I said, I wanted to get that done this year, but now it's taken a whole new direction. So we've pretty much got to pull that motor and box back out. You'll see that in the build series, but that won't be probably continuing until probably the end of January. So there's that. I know I talked about wanting to get my R31 done for the Archie Matsuri. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of a spanner thrown in the works for me with my partner has been on the waiting list for an operation that she's been waiting for like 2 years, and it's now booked in for the 7th of January. So next week we're gonna go back, she's gotta have an operation. So I'm just not gonna get time to do it. Not only that, even if we didn't have this operation, I probably wouldn't have time. We are just booking jobs left, right and center. At the moment, we're booked up until March. So yeah, things are crazy around here. But anyway, I digress. That's enough of vlogging stuff. Let's get into this Q&A, shall we? All right, guys, so time to start this whole Q&A deal. I actually have filmed this. This is the 3rd time I'll be filming this Q&A. I tried it twice yesterday, which is when this video started. And both times I messed something up with the media mod case. I tried to use an external mic and it didn't quite work out. The audio was real funny. So I'm just gonna do it again today. Hopefully it's the last time I have to do it. It's currently raining in Rex's tuning today. It's New Year's Eve today, so I'm in Big Yellow filming this so that it's out of the wind and rain in the sort of quiet. So anyway, I put out my feelers on all of my social medias for people to ask questions to be answered for this. I've always liked doing Q&As for these sorts of, monumentous milestones, because it gives new viewers a really good avenue to learn a lot more about us in a really short time in a Q&A. Not only that, but at the moment we've got so many builds that are sort of half done that I figured there'd be a lot of questions that a lot of people were probably wondering, and it's just a really good idea to do a Q&A. I haven't done one, I think, since like 3,000 subs I did one for, and then I think I did one after that with all the boys here, but it was probably just a bit of nonsense. So anyway, I thought a Q&A would be really good. So we'll jump into it. We'll start off with the questions that I got asked on TikTok. I actually do have a TikTok account for anyone wondering. You can go follow me there. I make, cool little short videos as best I can. So TikTok questions, let's go. So we've got Tyler Way. What other supporting mods or maintenance should I do before considering putting a turbo on my 1HZ? 476,000 Ks on the clock. So he asked this yesterday, which was the day I actually released the 1HZ turbo video that we did for Jake. So I'm not sure that he's seen that video. If you haven't seen it, Tyler, go and watch it. But we didn't do any supporting mods for that. 1HZs are a pretty bulletproof motor, particularly if it's one that's been left aspirated all its life. Classic Toyota 90s engineering, they're pretty bulletproof. So as long as it's doing everything it should be doing right, aspirated, you shouldn't have an issue turboing. If you're worried, just do a compression test. You can buy diesel compression testers from most places and just do a compression test, make sure the compression's okay. But apart from that, we just did the turbo on a bit of a tune and it was fine. So next question, we've got Jordan Riley. I've got an R31 and I'm having trouble getting it started. Wired it up and it turns over, but I'm getting no spark. What are some tactics I can try? So basically, engine needs three things to run. It needs compression, fuel, and spark. Make sure it's got compression, make sure it's getting fuel, and then make sure it's getting spark. Outside of that, electronically look at your MAF sensor, dizzy. Obviously, if there's something wrong with the dizzy, your spark's going to be wrong. Check your timing. There's just process of elimination. It's just start from somewhere and just start eliminating what could be wrong. TI3DI. I think. Was it scary starting the business, and how big bad were your overheads when starting? Wasn't that scary for us. Like I've said before, we actually didn't plan to start this business when we did. The plan was to go into business full-time around about now and be buying the dyno around about now. The dyno that we bought sort of ended up falling in our lap from the guy who did a lot of our tuning before we had our dyno. So it was sort of opportunity that arose that was too good to pass up, so we snatched it, and then we got hit with coronavirus, so we were pretty much forced with our hands behind our back into going full-time because we were out of work otherwise. So it wasn't that scary because the way we've set up the business is, on this property, we own it, we own the shed. We've got very little overheads because we've done it really slowly, building it up so that we own everything. So it's relatively stress-free, which is exactly how we wanted it, and it wasn't super scary for us. So obviously there was a few worries, but I guess the fact that we had to do it because of Corona sort of helped in the way that we didn't really have a choice. So for that reason, it wasn't that scary, because if we weren't doing this, we weren't doing anything else anyway. So I'd say not so scary. There are, scary parts with any sort of engine building tuning. We've got a few people here saying congratulations. Thank you, everyone. We've got Aussie Trucky 93. What happened to the HJ Tonner build? I'm not sure if he means Raucous, the blue tonner, or the one that we started with Dad. The one we started with Dad is still ongoing. It's just really slow progress. So we can't prioritize that sort of thing over the business. Those are Dad's sort of retirement fund projects. We've got enough parts around to build 3 good tonners, with 3 good sets of running gear, proper Holden running gear, which should be worth a little bit of money. But Dad's retired. He just ticks along with that as he does, when he feels like it, when he can, and I just make content when it happens. So those are just really, really slow builds. As far as Raucous goes, that ended up being a lot bigger build than we expected, due to some issues with that block when we pulled it down with the way the bores are. So it's ended up getting complete new rotating assembly, custom pistons made by CP. We've got the pistons, we've had the block machined, ready to go, but we haven't bought the rods and crank yet, because that's quite an expensive outlay to do. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Raucous, the blue HJ1 tonner, it's getting a turboed blow-through E85 big block. It's going to be around about 480 cubes now and about 11:1 compression. So it should be a pretty cranky should be a pretty cranky big donk. It's another one of those things where it's just a money thing. At the moment we've got a lot more important things to sink sort of money into than our personal projects like that for now. That being said, that engine combo was never meant to stay in that tonner. We're sort of building that because Rex had most of the parts there, and it's going to be something that's going to be built, put in the tonner, do a bit of showcasing, a bit of power cruise or whatever, and then that combo will be sold. So Raucous is a burnout car. Rex is really big in the burnout scene. Raucous was a burnout car for anyone who was in the burnout scene, you know, in Queensland, sort of early 20-teens, 2011, 2012. You probably know Raucous. We used to get around quite a bit. It's won quite a few competitions and stuff back when it had the small block in it. So the plan for Rex was always to keep that car a burnout car. So for that reason, the Turbo D85 big block doesn't particularly suit that application. So Rex has actually got a lot of pieces together to build another really, really cranky small block. I think it's going to be around 420 cubes this time, 14:1 comp, big solid roller, like it's going to be really angry. He's going to get some new heads for it because the AFR 210s that he had in the old setup were a little bit insufficient, holding the combo back. So he's also got another Vortec block and enough parts around that we can build another really cranky 383 with the old AFR 210s that were on the 400 in Raucous beforehand, and that will be another motor that will probably be built and sold. So we want to sort of do the big block, get it in the tonner, sell it, capitalize, use that money, build a 383, do the same thing, put it in the tonner, get around, people can see it. You know, if someone wants to buy it, they can see it, watch it run, and then, you know, we just sell it from intake to, you know, carb to sump sort of thing. And then hopefully after all that, have enough sort of cash left over to finish the new small block for the burnout car. Hopefully put even a new gearbox and diff in it and stuff, and, you know, get that car back to its former glory of being sort of fairly big in the burnout scene. So obviously Rex is a very big RPM NA small block guy. That's his roots, so that's what he wants to do for that car. He's had it since he was like 16. So rest assured, the Blue HJ is not going anywhere. It definitely will be featured on the channel because it's Rex's pride and joy. It's his baby. So it'll be around. It's just one of those things where it's a slow progress, and money is the biggest drawback of factor for that. So then we've got Winnie 997. What's a good and easy way to make good kilowatts with an LS1? The easiest way is to send it to us. No, for real, but they're super easy. You know, a decent set of pipes, a good exhaust system, a half decent intake, and the right cam package and a tune, and you're on your way to pretty good power. So they are fairly easy motor. Picking a cam can be a bit tricky. It sort of just depends on your setup and what pipes and stuff you're going to run. And LS6 intakes are probably best for cheap and easy power, but they are getting pretty hard to find. But that's your best option, is a cam package and some good supporting mods. Aaron Smith, would you hire an apprentice? Would never say never, but at the moment we're not really considering. So we'll see what happens maybe in another 5 years. Like at the moment, the work's very personal to us. It's, you know, what we love to do. There's a lot of knowledge that we have from studying for years and pretty much dedicating our life to this hobby that we've now turned into a business. So at the moment we've got no real inclination to hire anybody, you know, to put the name to someone else's work sort of thing. It's a bit of a risk, we feel, but again, I'd never say never. It just depends where the business ends up going. Sort of a bit open-ended there. And then we got the bro Saul Chase from Tassie. For anyone who doesn't know Saul Chase, he's doing a Barra E36. So go and check out his socials if you haven't. He's a pretty cool bloke. What car was the one that got away? I'd have to say that'd be my Subi. Back in like 2000, early 20 teens, I had a pretty off-tap GC8 WRX. It was full like STI running gear. Like had the old JDM STI 5-speed gearbox, but was full PPG straight cut gear set. Then had, you know, full forged. It was a 257 crank, so it was a 2.2 litre stroker with an EJ20G block. You know, ported heads. It was pretty off tap little thing. So that was an awesome fun car, and that is one car that I would always love to buy back. It was so much fun. So that'd definitely be the one that got away. So that's it for the TikTok questions. We'll move on to the Instagram questions, starting with the ones from the actual post that I put up. We've got Richo's Customs. For anyone who doesn't know Richo's Customs, he's got his own YouTube channel, so definitely go check him out if you haven't already. He's got a pretty cool AU. So he says, when are you going to build a cool AU? So funny you should ask this. I've actually been thinking about my AU ute that I've got down there and plans for that. So for viewers who have been around for a while, I do have an AU ute. I got it real cheap from my uncle. You know, it's just a bogs, you know, just a pretty standard beat up old AU ute. But I got some pretty cool plans to hopefully do that into a really cool sleeper. So I have been thinking about it. So maybe this year, maybe 2022, I don't know, but I would like to do a cool AU one day. We've got Hale Darthouse. He says, has YouTube made your workload go up considerably? And do you find it hard to smash out the work as well as film and edit, and is it worth it? So yes, the YouTube has made the workload massive, not only just with obviously making the videos and everything else and running the channel, but you know, it's also brought in a lot of business for our business, or a lot of customers for our business, I should say. You know, I think the reason that our business has done so well in this first sort of 6 months of it operating properly is because of the YouTube. Even though I don't film everything that comes through the doors here at OnSong, much of what we do has come from the YouTube in some sort of roundabout way. You know, people who have watched the YouTube, people who have got, you know, word of mouth from the YouTube or whatever. So it's definitely done a great deal for our business, which is a really good thing. So you know, it's a lot of work running the business, and then you know, also doing the channel and everything else, particularly with a young family. It's an insane amount of work, but I do love doing it, and it does do really well for my business, so it's definitely worth it. But I would say to anyone considering it, if you don't love doing it, you're not going to do very well, because it's so much fucking work. So you know, it's cool for me because I really enjoy making videos. I love what I do, so it's sort of it's easy for me to do it. It's just a lot of work, but yeah, I definitely would say that if you didn't love the content you're making, if you didn't love what you were doing trying to make videos, it would definitely come through in the content, and I don't think it would go very far. So even though my channel is not super successful in itself, it has obviously, you know, done leaps and bounds for my business and will continue to do so, and I enjoy doing it, so I'm going to continue going with it. So thanks for that, Hale Darthouse. So next we got the 33 Life. What are your thoughts on the preferences between a RB2530 DET and an RB30 ET? So I always have the same answer to this question. If you already have a car that has got a twin cam RB in it, so maybe R32, R33, R34, going to a 2530 is a really good idea. So you're gaining, you know, your extra half a litre. Not only that, but the RB30 big ends are quite a little bit bigger, the journals. So you're getting a fair bit of gain out of that. That extra half litre makes quite a big difference without having to change heaps of other stuff around the car, because it's already got the twin cam head on it. So for those cars, I definitely say it's very well worth it. But if you're looking at something like an RB30 in a you know, R31 Skyline or a VL, my answer is always to leave it single cam head. I'm a big fan of the single cam head. They work really well, and there's a lot of great cams out there available for them. So I'm a big fan of the single cam head. So to those people, I always say leave the single cam head on it, because the advantages of you going to the twin cam head and then having to change everything in the car, you know, your loom, everything else, you know, the advantages don't really outweigh the extra work that you have to put in to do that, when you could, you know, achieve a very, very similar goal using the single cam head without having to change so much stuff. So that's my answer to that. Is they definitely have their place, but I'm a big fan of the single cam head. Got a few more people congratulating us. Thank you guys. We got Lachlan McCaffrey. Who wins in a fight to the death between octopus and a mammoth? I reckon octopus, honestly, depending on what sort of octopus it is. But you know, if a blue-ringed octopus got onto a mammoth, what's a mammoth gonna do? You know, shake it off? I reckon the octopus will have it. From Demerilis, our boy Fredo, who says, for this milestone, will Rex skid something? Unfortunately not, as much as we'd love to. Unfortunately, right now we don't really have any cars to skid. The Cruiser, since moving my house or my furniture up here last week, the Cruiser has now pretty much been decommissioned until we sort out the manifolds properly. So the manifolds are starting to crack. It's starting to get a little bit worse for wear. We need to do a bit of a revamp on that thing. So at the moment, it's been decommissioned. It's too sick, so we can't skid that. Rex's XR6 Turbo daily, the gearbox is about to go, so we can't skid that. None of our drift cars are done. I don't have a car to skid. Like, unfortunately, at the moment, we just don't have a car that can skid. So maybe for the next milestone, definitely a shed skid, but unfortunately at the moment, not going to happen. We've got Tom Hyde. Advice for an apprentice mechanic for getting into the performance scene. Obviously, just take a lot of pride in your work. That's what's going to happen. Your work will speak for itself. So just take pride in your work. Make sure everything you do is Mickey Mouse and beautiful work, and you know, eventually you will get noticed, and it'll keep going that way. Cam 1864 me, which do you think is the coolest engine? The Mighty Barra versus RB30 versus 1JZ versus LS1. So the RB30 I've always thought was mighty, mostly because of how cheap it was, and it's sort of an Australian secret. But I would say that the 1JZ and LS1 are both much better engines. Barra, I can't really comment too much on at this stage. 2021 is going to be sort of the year of the Barra for us. We plan on doing a lot of Barra stuff this year, but thus far I haven't done a lot of Barra stuff in the way of actually pulling them down, seeing exactly, you know, inside them, all that sort of thing. So it's definitely for me between the 1JZ and the LS, and I'd say the 1JZ is a better engineered motor, but the LS is cheaper, readily available, better to work on. So that's where I'll leave that, somewhere between 1JZ and LS1. Alright, so that's all the questions from the post. Now we'll go into the questions that I got asked on the Instagram story that I put out. So we'll start off with Angus Chalmers. He says, what advice to give someone doing their first engine conversion? Your first conversion, I would say just research, make sure you know exactly what you're doing. And also, whatever you think it's going to cost, double it, realistically. And go from there. That's what I'd give you. That's the advice I would give. We've got Alexi. I still don't know how to pronounce your last name, sorry mate, but he's the one that owns the pink R33 that I did a little while ago. He said, do you have any pictures of the past builds from when you were younger, Rex and Max? I'm pretty sure we've got some somewhere. Unfortunately, with me having just moved, I've got crap everywhere at the moment, so I probably won't be able to dig any out. But the two most important ones, which is this tonner and the blue one, we still have. Obviously the cars, they'll probably never get sold. They both are way too important to us. But you know, we do have photos around of a lot of our old builds. I just have to try and dig them out and try and find them one day, but it's probably not going to be in this video because all my stuff is all over the place at the moment after just moving. We've got Josh Graham. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Hopefully pretty much just continuing to do this, maybe just on a bigger scale, maybe some higher end stuff. Hopefully the channel will sort of go somewhere. You know, I'm pretty loose with it all. Like I always say, YouTube really excites me in the potential it has to do really big things. So it's always just one of those things where I'm going to continue to make content doing what I love. I'm going to continue to run the business because it's what I love to do. I've got a few business ideas that I want to execute in there along the way. But at the end of the day, I love it. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep making content, and whatever opportunities present themselves through, you know, the YouTube or whatever else happens, I'll probably take them and just see where it goes. Ultimately, I would love to go back to uni and finish my degree. So we'll just see what happens, really. But my plan is to pretty much keep doing this and just see where it goes. Next, we got Aiden Absalon. I really want to learn how to tune. How did you get into it? I did make a video on this one time, I think. It was a fair while ago, but we pretty much got into it. It's just something we've always really been interested in. We've always been really interested in engines and tuning. It's what sort of pushed us both into the direction of mechanical engineering. And, you know, we used to race dirt bikes when we were younger, and we used to obviously do a lot of playing around with carbs and stuff like that, making sure bikes were always crispy. You know, it was always good to have like a really crispy bike. So it's just one of those things that was naturally something we were really interested in. Through studying of engineering, we learnt a lot of, you know, the basic principles and everything you need to know for what, you know, what an engine wants and that. So it's sort of just, I don't know, there's something that we were always interested in, so it's something that we gradually just learned. We knew ended up meeting the right people, tuners and stuff, where when we had questions, you know, we'd ask and we'd get answers, and you just progressed from there pretty much. Whatever we couldn't find online. You know, we live in the age of information. There's that much stuff online that you could pretty much learn to do anything, sorry. You could pretty much learn to do anything if you wanted to bad enough and you wanted to research enough. So my advice is to stop giving so much time to social media. Use your time on the internet for better things than just social media. So do research, just learn. There's that many different you know, courses and stuff out these days as well. It's easier than ever to learn how to tune at the moment. But you know, the best thing to do is to just, whatever car you've got, buy yourself a nice little you know, standalone ECU, a little Haltech or something. Download the software and just start doing a bit of hands-on stuff as well, and just sort of see where it goes, see where you go with it. So that's how I'd say to get into it, is pretty much just research it, see how you go researching. If it all makes sense to you, if you can apply it all to the knowledge you have, you know, buy a little ECU and start doing some hands-on stuff and just see how you go. We got LamX L4AMX Priv. Interesting name, but what's your favorite engine? I'd say to work on, probably LS. But I don't know, I love a lot of different engines, so definitely LS to work on. I reckon JZs are one of the best engineered engines I've ever seen. But I do have a lot of really, you know, the old Volvo B230 red motor, that's one of my big favorites. I would love to do my Volvo 240 one day. So yeah, I don't know. I love a lot of engines for a lot of different things. Riley Wall says, when the FG coming? Probably never. I wouldn't hold your breath. I'd love to own an FG, I really would, and I was looking at buying one simply so the missus had like a decent daily for my kid and all that sort of thing, but we've ended up buying something else, as you saw at the start of this video, the Terracam, which honestly, since we bought it, has surprised me every step of the way. That thing has been absolutely awesome. I can't believe how good that car is for the money. So probably never going to get the FG, as much as I would love to own one. It's just one of those things where, you know, to buy a decent FG XR6 Turbo, you're probably looking at like 20 grand. And given my position with, you know, the business, what I have available to me, and the YouTube, I would be 10 times better off sinking that 20 grand into doing another build. So I wouldn't hold your breath for an FG. It's probably just never going to happen. Maybe one day when I've got that much disposable income, but at the moment I just don't, and I'd always be better off reinvesting that 20 grand into doing something different. So we'll just see. We've got 91 RB30 GQ build. Is there any cheap way to get anywhere up to at least 50 kilowatt out of an NA Carby RB30? Obviously Carby upgrade, like a Holley or something, extractors, that sort of thing. Best thing you could do is convert to EFI, really. We've got Jordan Lang, RB or JZ. JZ every day of the week. RB if you're on a budget, but JZ's a better motor. Rob Parsonage, Santa leave you any goodies? Not particularly. I got to spend a lot of good quality time with my family though, so that's the main thing. I'm one of those people that sort of just buys whatever I want when I want it, so I'm pretty hard to buy presents for, so didn't really get any real big goodies, but yeah, it was a really nice time though. We got Rewit. How to make the most out of an NA RB30 Skyline for drift, tyre size, etc. Source yourself a set of Pintara diff gears, so they're 411s. So you've got really short gearing, and then yeah, 15s, you know, with a 185 or something. You'd be surprised how punchy it'll be and how nice it'll be to skid. Nix R33, preferred method of measuring airflow, MAF, map, etc. So my preferred method is mostly just to do with the cars that I work on. So I work on obviously a lot of 90s JDM stuff, and you know, even LS stuff. And my preferred method for those is speed density, just because it's simple, it's easy to tune, and there's not much to go wrong. Mass airflow meters are a much better way of measuring airflow, because you're getting a raw indication of exactly how much airflow you're getting instead of a calculation. But that being said, mass airflow meters of that era were not very good, so they're not very reliable. They had a lot of issues, so it's easier just to do away with them. But mass airflow is definitely a really good way to measure airflow, and a lot of the newer ECUs like OEMs and stuff, you know, Gen 4 LS and that, most of them use a combination of both, which is really, really good. So preferred method really just depends on the car and depends what ECU and everything else that's going on. But yeah, usually just a speed density is what I'd go for. Alright guys, had to take a bit of a break because the camera was getting too hot in the car, so got a little bit of a break between Rex tuning at the moment, so I'll just finish off these questions from the Instagram story. So the next one we've got is Alex Harvey says, can I please see the Turbo 4Age ignition map? So if you want some help, shoot me a message. I'm happy to help you out wherever I can. That particular Turbo 4Age was a bit of an oddball, because you know, 4Ages have a really efficient head. They already love a lot of timing, and that thing was a massive turbo for that application. So it was hardly any back pressure and very low boost. We're only around about 7 pounds, so that thing did take a heap of timing. And it was happy, it was really happy with that. So it may not be applicable to you if you've got a different size turbo, like an appropriately sized turbo. It's probably going to be a bit different. But yeah, if you want some help, just shoot me a message. Brad Palmer says, is there going to be a burnout for 10k subs? Yeah, same thing as just before. Unfortunately not for 10k, but maybe for the next one, hopefully. How much for an RB30 DE? Honestly, I probably wouldn't really bother. Again, it's that same argument. If you've got an RB30E, again, it's the same thing. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I wouldn't probably bother doing an RB30 DE, personally. Oslo John, he says, is the Commodore still getting a Barra? Absolutely it is. I've got all the gear here. I've literally got the whole conversion kit. We've got everything here. I've got myself a factory turbo manifold as well. So, you know, we've literally got pretty much everything here to do it. It's just a matter of time. Once again, it's that painstaking thing of time. So the plan was to actually have that built and sold before Christmas so that I had that sort of money to you know, keep going over Christmas, plus to start on the next sort of project, which is going to be the EA. So my plan is to pretty much use that for some capital, and hopefully try and keep the ball rolling, as in we always have a actual build for just the channel to keep progressing. So, you know, build the VS, sorry, enjoy it, capitalize on selling that, using that money to go on to the next project, which would be more content, same thing, build that, have some bit of fun, and then sell that, and sort of just try and keep it rolling so that we've always got a you know, a channel build going on. Obviously with Rex going on the night shift and everything that's happening now, that didn't work out the way we wanted it to, but yeah, rest assured the VS is definitely still getting a barrow. I've got everything here. I've already sunk a lot of money into getting it done. It's just a matter of now finding the time to actually get the project underway and have it happening. So hopefully a little bit later this month, when I'm back on deck after Mrs. has a surgery and all that sort of thing, so we'll hopefully dive into that head first and try and get it done ASAP. So that's all of the Instagram story questions. So have another bit of a break and we'll get into the YouTube questions. All right, we're back in the car because Rex is back to being noisy. So firstly, the video I put out of the 2020 recap, I did ask that I did say I was going to do Q&A. So I had one question on that video from Mr. Sabiji, who's a long-time supporter. He says, is the Tuners Guild a real thing? Every time a tuner starts to share some bits of info about how they do this or that, they always start looking over their shoulder nervously, or they stop mid-sentence and then they have to apologize in a subsequent video about sharing these tuning secrets. Do you guys fear for your lives? How powerful is the guild? How can I join? I don't know personally enough tuners to really comment on whether there is a big secret guild or something. You know, me and Rex are sort of mostly self-taught through our own tertiary education and then our own research, and then, you know, the bloke who actually we bought the dyno off is a really good mate of ours. He does a lot of tuning, and, you know, we sort of learnt a lot from him. It's really good. But outside of that, we don't personally know a lot of tuners, but I wouldn't say that it's really a big worry to us. You know, one thing that we've learned from all our years of actually studying, doing this and getting into it is that it's one thing to know the information, but actually understanding what an engine wants and how to apply changes and what you should be doing is very different. So personally, I don't really see it being a big deal sharing information. Like I said, we live in the age of information. Anything that I could say to you on a video is information that if you wanted to dig deep enough and research hard enough, you could find it on the internet anyway. So I don't think it's really a big secret, but you know, it's just the fact that knowing the information is very different to knowing how to apply it and knowing exactly what you're doing. So I don't really personally see it as such a big deal. The only reason I really withhold with that sort of thing is that, being that I don't know that many tuners and we are sort of the new people on the block as far as the tuning industry goes, is the last thing we want to do is come in and piss off a whole industry of people. So personally, I don't see it as a big deal. That being said, there may be a lot of other tuners who do see it as a big deal, so I try and not, divulge too much, particularly of, stuff you got to learn the hard way. But I'm always happy to give away a little bit of information. It's usually not plainly given away. It's usually stuff that's really to invoke your own thinking and just see where you go with it. So, personally, I don't think it's a big deal. But, there might be some people out there. Personally, I don't really worry that much about it. It's just more so the fact that I don't want to piss off an entire industry being sort of the new kid on the block. Not only that, but I still have a lot to learn myself. So, you never know everything. I've done pretty well so far. I know a lot. I've done a lot of study. I've done a lot of tertiary education of engineering and that sort of thing. So, there's quite a bit that I know, but I know enough to know that I need to know a lot more. So, I'm not out here at this stage trying to teach anyone how to tune. So anyway, yeah, I don't really think there is a guild. I don't know that there is a guild. I'm not part of the guild, so I don't know how you can join. Sorry, mate. But yeah, I'm not that worried. I don't look over my shoulder. I just try and release enough information to get my viewers thinking really about what's going on and what they might want and what's happening. Enough information so that they can understand more about what parts and stuff they should buy, what they should be doing to their cars, with at the same time trying not to give away too much information on the actual raw tuning side of things, just so that I don't, piss people off that make a living out of this. So, but at the same time, I know my viewers appreciate the honesty and the knowledge. So, I just try and have a balance and a bit of a middle ground. So Anyway, now on to, I put out an actual post on YouTube, just a community post. So now on to that to see what people asked on that one. So I'll check the camera out here a little bit while I get the chance so I can be out in the cool air while Rex isn't making much noise. So on the post we have, first up, Hedgemaster Matty. Whereabouts are you located? You guys have some sweet rides. Which is your favorite? So we are just out of Yarraman. We're about 2 hours northwest of the Brisbane CBD. And as far as our favorite ride, my favorite rides, it'll have to be probably between the Cruiser, this tonner and the other tonner, the Raucous. So they all have a lot of family history with us. They've all been in the fleet for a very long time. None of them will probably ever go anywhere. We'll probably have them forever. So that'd have to be my favorite, even though none of them are really healthy at the moment. But yeah, definitely those ones. We've got Primo's Customs and RC. What would you recommend doing to an L67 conversion for a tune, and can you tune the standard Ecotec ECU, or would you recommend changing it even when running manual? So yeah, Ecotec ECUs, they can be tuned, but it's very like 1980s burning EPROMs. It's pretty average. It's pretty secondhand. I would definitely recommend going to an aftermarket ECU for your conversion, even though it's manual, and getting a decent tune on it. You know, our Haltech Elite 750 will run an L67 fine. So that'd be the way I would go personally, and you're going to get way better results out of it. Yeah, it's definitely the way to go, particularly if you want to up the boost a bit on the L67. So you can tune the stock ECU, but it's very, very old school. You probably have a lot of trouble trying to find someone who will do it, and it will always be a subpar tune compared to what you can get off an aftermarket ECU. So even though a Haltech Elite seems like a bit of outlay at the moment, you're going to end up with a way better car at the end of it. So that was my recommendation. We've got a few more people just congratulating us. Thank you very much everyone for watching and congratulating us and being part of the journey. It's awesome. So we've got that guy. He says, congrats on 10K champions. Just wondering what the main goal for OnSong is in 2021. At the moment, it's pretty loose. It's pretty open-ended. Honestly, at the moment, the main goal is just to continue doing what we're doing and see where it goes. I've got a few little goals that I would like to get in 2021. I would like to get that magical 1K horsepower. Whether it be from an engine that we've built or a tune that we've done. We've not done either ourselves, pretty much. So we've never built an engine that's gone over 1,000 horsepower yet, and we've not done a tune that's gone over 1,000 horsepower yet. It's hard with the chassis dyno because you are somewhat limited. You know, 1,000 horsepower LS would be alright on the chassis dyno, but you know, 1,000 horsepower J or barrel or something that really hits a lot harder. The power delivery is very different. It's very hard to get traction and get good, you know, it makes it pretty hard on the dyno. Just going to stick the camera back in now because the wind's picking up out there and I'm not sure how the wind noise is going to be. So yeah, that's one thing I would love for 2021 for OnSong. Second thing is I really want to get a 10-second pass under our belt. I just want to get a car in the 10s this year, whether it be one of ours or a customer. I just want to get a car in the 10s. So that's two big goals I have for 2021 for OnSong. Apart from that, it's just continue what we're doing. You know, this first 6 months we've had of business has been really good considering, you know, what we've had to deal with. So for 2021, I'm really excited for what we can achieve. And at the moment, it's just a matter of just continue going, try not to monumentally screw anything up, keep building our reputation and our portfolio. And at the end of 2021, we're just going to pretty much reassess about whether we want to start expanding this property like we have been talking about, or whether we want to actually just move the business to an actual industrial area and you know, have this property just go back to what it was before we started the business, which was set up to be a hobbyist sort of motoring enthusiast setup. So, you know, we built the shed as hobbyists. We never actually planned to go this far with the business when we built the property or set it up. So for that reason, I would say the space isn't optimized 100% for what we want to do. And as you've seen with the past couple of weeks with Rex working the shutdown and there being a few cars here that I really needed his help to finish, I couldn't do on my own. It sort of really made it hard for me to be here on my own without Rex and having all these cars around, the way the property's set up. So, you know, there's a few advantages there would be to just moving the business to an industrial estate. Obviously, big disadvantages is overheads of rent. But if we're making enough money and we can afford it, it's probably worth doing. I'm sure Dad would love to get a shed back at some point. The other thing is, you know, we don't want to overcapitalize in the property. It's only ever going to be worth so much. So to sink a heap of money into expanding it may not be the smartest move. But it's stuff we just got to assess when we get to it. Like I said at the start, we own the place. It's no overheads really. It makes it stress-free, so there's no pressure for us to go anywhere. But you know, it may be an advantage to all involved if we did move to an industrial estate, if the business is going along fast enough. So, you know, the property's set up fairly well for two of us. As long as two of us are here, we make it work. It works pretty well, but You know, we're finding the engine rooms increasingly becoming smaller. We've got that many engines in the build at the moment that, you know, we don't have enough room in the engine room to fit them all in. And, you know, the dyno's in one of the main work areas. We would really like to put it outside in a cell so that we don't have to worry about neighbors, because we do have neighbors and we do care and we do have to make a living doing this, so we want to be able to continue to do it. So I'd like to build a cell for the dyno, but it's, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a constant battle of where to put money, where to sink money into, whether we'll ever get it back, whether it's worth doing. So yeah, at the moment we'll just keep doing what we're doing. We've got some really cool neighbors and really appreciate it, and that's why we care so much about trying to keep them on the good side and be considerate. So yeah, a few goals that I would like to tick off, but mainly just continue to build our portfolio, continue doing what we're doing, continue to build our reputation, and just see where it takes us. So we're pretty cruisy people. We sort of go with the flow. We'll take whatever opportunities we can, and we'll see where we're at the end of 2021 and see where we're going to go. We've got Thomas Clark. Congrats on the milestone, and what's your favorite and least favorite engines to work on? Favorite, obviously LS, they're awesome. Least favorite, Alloy Tech. I wish to never touch one ever again. I've done enough of them to know I never want to touch another one. We've got Declan Brooks. Congrats on 10K. Any plans on traveling up north to the new track when it's built in Townsville? Absolutely, would love to get up there to see that track when it's built. That and the new track at Toowoomba. You know, any new motorsport complex is always very exciting because it's so rare nowadays that any council actually passes these sorts of things. So anything that does that for our sport, I'm always real into. So this year definitely do want to do a lot more traveling and get around a lot. You know, 2020 we didn't really get out much. So 2021 I want to do a lot more events, actually go out, hopefully have customer cars there, go support customers, have our own cars there, really get our name out there a bit more than just on the internet, and sort of, like I said, keep building the reputation. So yeah, definitely plan on getting out a lot more in future, and absolutely will be keen to go to Townsville and check that track out. West Aussie 89, is that going to let you take the 7 for a spin? Probably not. Firstly, I don't think he ever would let me. Secondly, I wouldn't fit in the damn thing. And thirdly, I honestly just have no desire to drive it. I'm not a rotary fan. I can respect what they are, but I just don't particularly like them. I don't know anything about them. So yeah, I don't really have any particular inclination to drive that thing, so that'll probably never happen. But anyway, we'll see. Maybe he'll let me come along for a ride along if I can fit in the passenger seat. That'd be cool. So we'll catch up with Zach one day soon, and then we'll see. I would like to have a look at it, but it's just not my thing. Next we've got Toast and Cheese. My question would be, have you painted or cleaned that the engine room door yet? Sorry mate, had to. Congrats reaching 10K, well deserved. No, I haven't painted it, and at this stage it's become such a meme that I probably won't, just because it's hilarious. Yeah, so it's still filthy, it's still dirty, but thank you, Toast and Cheese. Appreciate the support. Thank you to everyone. That was the last question. So that is officially it for the Q&As. Hope you all learned a little bit more and had, enjoyed the video. So anyway, welcome to 2021, guys. It's going to be a great year for us, I think. I can feel it in my bones with this new venture happening. And me leaving so close to the workshop now, having so much more time to make good content and edit, and having so many good plans to actually get out and about and go to more events. I reckon it's going to be a really great year for the channel. I reckon it's going to be a really great year for our business. I reckon it's going to be a really great year for me personally. So I'm very, very excited for what 2021 is going to bring. I just want to thank you all for being along for the ride. Thank you all for being around up to 10K. So hopefully one day the channel goes somewhere big and you can all say, we were there when it was only 10K. So that'd be cool. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for your ongoing support. Hope you all have a great year. Thank you for supporting the channel through 2020, even though it was a very hard slug of a year for me with my son being born and starting the business, and then the 3-hour daily drive and trying to get content out and make decent content. It just didn't really work out. I've not really made the content that I wanted to make this year, this past year, 2020. For 2021, I'm looking forward to putting in a lot more effort to make better quality content for you guys, and I'm really excited for where this potentially could all go. So it's really starting to take off. I feel like it's really starting, all the hard work's coming to a T, and it's really starting to go somewhere. So I'm super pumped. So thank you for watching, guys. As always, smash like, smash subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all in 2021. Peace out, see you, bye.